All the biggest voices from the World Economic Forum platform are right here on India Today. Rahul Kabul spoke to Maharashtra Minister Aaditya Thackeray in the sidelines of the World Economic Forum in Davos. Thackeray asserted how at Davos everyone must represent India and not a particular state. Yes, that exclusive conversation.
We're at the Maharashtra Pavilion at the World Economic Forum here in Davos, and joining me now is the state's Environment Minister, the young Aaditya Thackeray. Welcome. Mr. Thackeray, this is the first time you're coming to the World Economic Forum. How's it been for you so far?
Thank you. It's been really good because, here, this is the forum where you actually meet a lot of policymakers, the who's who, but more than that, a lot of young, innovative disruptors this time. So it's my first time here. Good fun.
There's Maharashtra right behind you, Tamil Nadu, Karnataka, Telangana, Andhra Pradesh, Madhya Pradesh. Given the state of Indian politics, is there a lot of back and forth, dishum happening?
No. Here we're all India. We're representing India. We're also proud to also have subnational governments. All of us have been interacting with each other. And this is for our country. This is for, all of us as one country.
But a certain amount of competition between states is only inevitable. Do you invest in the Jagan Andhra story? Do you invest in the KTR, KCR, Telangana story or the Thackeray Maharashtra story?
No, I've met both of them. And I think all of us agree that finally whatever happens, we're bringing it back home. So that's the thing. And see, healthy competition is always good. So when we are trying to charm investors, we're trying to bring in investors, it's always good that we pitch and put our best foot forward. But wherever it is coming in the country, it's for the country.
Given some of the domestic politics playing itself out, how has your attempt to try and attract industry to Maharashtra been here at Davos? Maharashtra has been a traditional Indian industrial powerhouse, but do you think this business of having a coalition government holds investors back because of potential political uncertainty?
Today we've just signed about 24 MoUs with about 6 or 8 different, countries around the world. With companies from different countries around the world, worth 30,000 crores for Maharashtra. And I'm, really excited to know even other states, and that all will add to the India kitty. So whatever happens back home in politics, like I said, this is for the country. This is again for a better planet. So every country coming here for a prosperity angle, for becoming more prosperous is always going to be good. To be honest, people from every state have been just meeting each other, just happy to see so many subnational governments here. This is probably the first time we've got 6 or 8 states being represented here. And that is what I was speaking to Piyush ji the other day, Honorable Minister, Union Government. So I was telling him, let's have more state governments here. More the representation from state governments, better representation, better offers for global corporates, and also for our own corporates to come here.
One, we have more state governments than ever. We're just walking past the HCL lounge, and we have more Indian companies. It almost looks like you're walking somewhere in Delhi or Mumbai, given the fact that it almost seems as if Davos has been taken over by this.
Exactly, and we had a good meeting with HCL as well. Many of these corporates are just walking in, dropping by, giving their good wishes, introducing us to many more people here. I think that's a good spirit.
Are you beginning to reach a point of extreme frustration with the level of political hostility back home?
Does my face seem so?
No, I'm just asking because...
back home is a different story where politics goes on. And yes, of course, there's a little bit of annoyance with the level of politics and with the opposition. But finally, like I said, here, we've sort of gone beyond that. We're here for the country. And at least from our side, there is no politics. We're here for the country.
You have had multiple cases of ED and other investigative agencies going after leaders from your coalition?
ये बातें करेंगे तो कोई आएगा नहीं, छोड़ दो ये बातें.
नहीं थोड़ा सा आप इतनी आसानी से कहाँ मिलते हो आदित्य? तो अगर आप मिल ही गए हो तो थोड़ी तो डोमेस्टिक पॉलिटिक्स
और बड़े लोग हैं यहाँ आसानी से मिलने,
उनसे भी बातचीत हो रही है.
हम तो बर्फ नहीं फेंक रहे.
अरे वाह, ये बताओ, तब से आप सोच के बैठे थे कि एक तो मैंने
तो जोक्स अपार्ट, बट honestly I think ये सब बातें चलती रहती है. हाँ, there will be a little more back home. There's politics and that's going on. But I think Rahul here, like I said, for us, even for you and for me, it's not very prudent or wise to be speaking of what's the politics back home. For us, it's the common man that really matters there. For us, it's important that when the world is opening up post-COVID, when there's recovery happening, we ought to bring businesses back home, create more jobs, create more revenue streams for our government, both at the center and state.
You've always been passionate about new emerging technologies. You're walking past the blockchain hub. You have any thoughts on how you're trying to use blockchain technology in trying to govern Maharashtra better?
So we've had blockchain conferences in Maharashtra, and there's one more happening very soon. But not just blockchain. Today we had a very, very interesting meeting with a satellite company that's actually into satellite imagery for us, and they're actually going into how landscapes have changed, how city patterns are changing. So be it IT, be it fintech, be it satellite, that is what is beautiful here. So many new technologies, new ideas. That's really going to impact us.
While we are here talking about blockchain, conversations around renaming cities, for example, problems being raised about the naming of, we'll go that side, the naming of Aurangabad, for example. How do you personally and your government look at these demands which seem to be becoming louder with every passing month?
I think I'm not going to speak about them here because, if I make any comment on any politics back home, that's going to capture, if not yours, but any other headlines rather than what Maharashtra has attracted at Davos. So for the people of Maharashtra today, we've had 30,000 crores MoUs signed. And that's what I'm only going to speak about. And that should be...
And that actually matters much more than Aurangzeb or some mandir or some masjid to power.
That's the comment I'm not going to make. How much have you tried from whichever angle? I've learned a little bit interacting with all the people here since morning that to stay focused.
That's a good space to be in. There are some very interesting, after the official program gets over, there's some very interesting get-togethers and parties. Have you only been locked in conferences? Are you getting to do some fun stuff as well?
I think the fun stuff is to meet so many people. So I was just discussing with you before our interview how we have, meetings with our own departments later on. Because every day when you have, say, 18, 20 meetings with 3 different ministers meeting many more people, we've got to have a recap of what we've sort of collected in terms of either investments or in terms of ideas or in terms of MOUs that can be taken ahead and what is up for the next day. Because you've got to walk into a meeting, and especially the people you meet here, the level of people you meet here, you cannot walk into a meeting unprepared or underprepared. You've got to be on your toes, fully prepared. And,
You were in a panel at the World Economic Forum on climate, and you've been very passionate about, climate advocacy. The fact that we're in Switzerland and it's been hotter in Switzerland in May than it's ever been. And even in India, we're seeing heat waves, which actually bring out in a very stark fashion some of these climate change related.
It is. I mean, I was in Delhi for Raisina a couple of months ago, I think 2 months ago. And I think it was 43, 49 degrees, and it's swinging between the 40s, late 40s. It hit 49, I think, last week. Mumbai's never seen 43, 44, which we are seeing today. So the fact is, climate is changing, weather is changing. And we've got to acknowledge the fact, act on it, and take it ahead.
So do you think you're being able to make enough of an intervention? I see you're very passionate about some of these topics, but do you see other policymakers not being as charged up about trying to make a change?
I think there are 2 things. One is, of course, you need to build political awareness and awareness in the common man. Because how much ever you and I speak about climate action here or any other forum of climate change, it's still remaining within 4 walls. So I think a lot of mainstream political talk is required on this. A lot of awareness building with the common man is required. And more importantly, here is where you realize that this is not just ideation and policy, it's also implementation on ground. You've got the corporates here, you've got the policymakers here, you've got the innovators here who can actually create an impact on ground.
So we're now walking past the India Lounge. This is where it started from.
Some great food here.
So where is the food best? Have you tried out different? I've heard the Andhra food is the best.
Yeah, हमें सिर्फ यहाँ खाने मिला because we've been just hopping around on coffee and sandwich, but we were here for some good samosa yesterday.
Do you feel India Lounge playing Big Brother, or it's all part of the same India story?
We're all part of India story, and we're not here to speak about any internal bickering here. This is for the country.
So there was no snow, so you didn't get to throw any snowballs, but we still managed to get drenched in the rain, as it were, with this umbrella holding fort. So thank you very much, Aaditya Thackeray, for joining us. We're just walking past now the Russian war crime house. Till last year, this used to be the Russia house. So they've now thrown the Russian lounge out. They've turned it instead into a Russia war crime house, and they're bringing out some of these ideas as well. I hope you have a great week. Thank you so much for joining us. Wish you all the best.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much.